When a woman hugs you, the very first thing she notices isn't your words, it's your body language. Before you even say anything, she can feel the energy you give off through how you carry yourself. This is why the way you respond in that exact moment matters more than most men realize. Too many guys get nervous, stiffen up, or make the hug awkward because they're overthinking it. What you need to understand is that your body language speaks louder than any line you could ever deliver. And when you respond the right way, she will remember that feeling long after you walk away. The key is calm strength. When she leans in, don't tense your shoulders or freeze up. Keep your posture relaxed, chest slightly open, and arms moving with ease. A man who is comfortable in his own skin doesn't look like he's second guessing himself. He looks composed. He looks present. And that's the type of energy a woman feels instantly. The difference between a man who gives off nervous energy and a man who gives off calm confidence can be the difference between her forgetting about you in an instant or thinking about you for days. Think about it. Women are emotional creatures. They pick up on subtle cues, and they don't just notice what you do, they feel it. If you're nervous, your body will be stiff, your breathing shallow, and your hug will feel rushed or disconnected. That kind of energy doesn't make her want to see you again. But if you're grounded, if you hold yourself like a man who doesn't need to prove anything, then she feels that stability. She feels safe and drawn in, even in something as simple as a hug. That's the power of body language. Another important factor is eye contact before and after the hug. When she comes toward you, don't look away or down at the ground. Keep your eyes steady with a soft confidence, almost as if you've already expected that moment. It shows you're unfazed, not surprised, and that you belong in that interaction. Then, after the hug, don't immediately rush to break eye contact or fill the silence with nervous chatter. Just a calm look, maybe a small smirk or a relaxed smile, says more than a whole paragraph of words ever could. That moment is where she feels your presence the most. You also want to avoid overcompensating. A lot of guys, in trying to seem confident, end up overdoing it. They grip too tightly, puff their chest too much, or exaggerate their stance. That doesn't read as masculine confidence. That reads as trying too hard. Real confidence is subtle. It's in the small things. Your breathing, your shoulders relaxed instead of slouched, your movement smooth and controlled. That kind of energy doesn't scream for attention. It naturally draws her in. So when she hugs you, remember, your body is communicating even before your mouth does. If you hold yourself with relaxed strength, calm presence, and steady energy, she'll walk away not just remembering that hug, but replaying how it made her feel. And feelings are what keep you on her mind long after you're gone. When a woman hugs you, one of the most powerful things you can do is learn how to match her energy while still leading with yours. Most men either go too far trying to overcompensate or they underdeliver and come across as passive. What she feels in that moment is a reflection of how well you understand the balance between reading her signals and still staying rooted in your masculine frame. This is what separates the men who are forgettable from the men she keeps thinking about long after that hug ends. Every hug carries a message. Sometimes she may give you a light, casual hug, just enough to acknowledge you, but nothing overly personal. Other times, she may lean in with warmth, holding you longer, signaling comfort or even attraction. A man who lacks awareness will either overreact, trying to force a stronger connection than what she's offering, or he'll fail to recognize when she's inviting him to give more. The man who stays on her mind forever is the one who notices the energy she's giving and mirrors it in a way that feels natural, but always in a grounded, masculine way that shows he's not just following, he's guiding. For example, if she comes in with a quick, light hug, don't suddenly pull her in tighter as if you're trying to make the moment something it's not. That comes across as needy. Instead, keep it simple, controlled, but still confident. A calm embrace that matches her vibe tells her you're socially intelligent, that you can read her without pushing too hard. On the flip side, if she lingers, if she holds you longer than normal, this is where you lead with your presence. You don't freeze up or cut it short. You hold her with steady confidence, not squeezing, but not letting go too fast either. That subtle choice creates a contrast in her mind. It tells her you're aware of what she's doing and you're strong enough to lead the interaction without breaking the flow. This balance of matching and leading is incredibly attractive to women because it shows emotional intelligence and dominance without aggression. Women don't want a man who simply reacts to everything they do. They want a man who notices but still makes the final call. Your ability to sense her energy and respond in a way that feels natural without needing her approval is what sets you apart. Most men miss this entirely. They either overdo it and make the hug feel uncomfortable, or they play it too safe and come across like just another friend. But when you walk that fine line, acknowledging her energy, responding appropriately, yet still anchoring the moment in your own masculine presence, you send a powerful subconscious message. I see you, I feel you, and I'm still in control of myself. That is the kind of moment that lingers in her mind. The man who masters this skill never needs to chase her attention, because she'll be replaying that hug in her head, wondering why it felt different from every other man she's hugged before. One of the most overlooked parts of responding to a hug is the pause. Most men don't realize that timing can create memory. They hug too quickly, pull away too fast, and in doing so, they make the moment forgettable. But when you hold that hug just a fraction longer than what's normal, you create a subtle tension that she feels deeply, and that pause is what stays in her mind long after the moment ends. It's not about clinging on or being needy. It's about controlled presence, about making her feel something she can't ignore. When you embrace a woman, the natural rhythm of most hugs is quick, 2 seconds, maybe 3, then it's over. That's what most guys do, and because it's normal, it doesn't stand out. She forgets it almost instantly. But the man who knows how to slow things down just slightly, who allows the hug to breathe, creates an emotional impact that's far greater than words could ever achieve. That extra second of stillness feels intentional. It feels deliberate. It feels like you're not rushing through the moment, but letting it land. This doesn't mean you drag it out awkwardly or grip her like you don't want to let go. That type of behavior makes her uncomfortable and signals neediness. Instead, it's about finding that balance, holding her firmly, letting the hug linger just 1 or 2 beats longer, and then pulling away with calm confidence. That subtle extension is enough to leave her wondering why it felt different, why it felt more meaningful, and why she's still thinking about it hours later. What makes the pause so powerful is the emotional contrast it creates. Women are incredibly tuned in to emotions and small details. A slightly longer hug creates a spike in her awareness. She notices it because it breaks the pattern she's used to. Most men are forgettable because they do what everyone else does. Quick hug, awkward laugh, and it's done. But when you change the rhythm, even just slightly, you stand out. She might not even be able to explain why, but she'll feel it. That's the key. Women remember how you make them feel, not what you say. Another layer to this is your composure during the pause. If you seem nervous, if you break the tension with a joke or by pulling away too quickly, you ruin the impact. But if you stay calm, grounded, and in control, that pause becomes magnetic. The silence, the stillness, It creates a moment of unspoken connection. And because it's subtle, it doesn't feel forced. It feels natural, yet unforgettable. Think about it like music. The notes are important, but often it's the pause between them that gives the song its rhythm and emotion. A hug works the same way. The touch is the note, but the pause, the decision not to rush, is what gives the interaction its weight. That's what turns a simple hug into something that replays in her mind over and over again. When you master the art of holding the moment just long enough, you no longer need to overcompensate with words or actions. The pause itself does the work for you, making her feel something deeper, and that feeling is exactly what keeps you on her mind. When a woman hugs you, one of the strongest things you can do to stay on her mind is to control the frame with how you end the hug. Most men don't think about this part. They let the woman decide when the hug is over. They break away nervously or they cling on too long, which makes the moment awkward. But the man who owns the ending of the hug communicates something deeper: leadership, confidence, and control. And that is what leaves a lasting impression. You see, women are always testing, consciously or subconsciously, whether a man is truly comfortable in himself. When you let her dictate every part of the interaction, you come across as reactive, like you're waiting for permission. But when you guide the hug, when you're the one who chooses to end it at the perfect time, you show her that you're not afraid to take the lead. This subtle shift turns a simple hug into a demonstration of strength. The mistake most guys make is either letting go too quickly or holding on too long. If you release too early, she feels like you were rushing, like you were uncomfortable being close to her. That doesn't leave her curious or drawn to you. It leaves her indifferent. On the other hand, if you hold on too long, she starts to feel suffocated, like you're desperate for her attention. Neither one of those makes you stand out. The sweet spot is in the middle, holding the hug long enough to show you're present, but ending it just before it feels routine. That precise timing creates a lingering effect. It makes her feel the hug ended with purpose, not by accident. What really matters here is the energy behind your action. If you end the hug abruptly and step back nervously, she'll sense it. But if you pull away smoothly with calm confidence, she'll feel the difference. Maybe you pull back slightly, look into her eyes for a brief moment and give a subtle smile before moving on. That transition is what plants the memory in her head. It's not just the hug, it's how you closed it out that tells her you're a man who knows what he's doing. This is also where you set yourself apart from every other guy. Most men don't understand that control over the little things is what women remember most. Anyone can hug, but very few men know how to hug with intention. Ending the hug with confidence communicates a silent message. You're not clinging, you're not afraid to walk away, and you're always in control of yourself. That kind of energy is magnetic to women because it shows strength without you having to say a word. So when you're in that moment, don't let it fade away without impact. Hold the hug with presence, and when you decide it's time, release with composure, leaving her with the sense that you chose the moment, not her. That's the type of subtle leadership that keeps you on her mind far longer than you realize. Eye contact during and after a hug is one of the most powerful ways to stay in a woman's mind because it connects the physical with the emotional. Most men completely overlook this. They hug, then instantly look away, almost as if they're afraid to face the intimacy of the moment. But the man who holds her gaze, even briefly, transforms a simple hug into something that feels charged, something that lingers with her long after. It's not about staring or trying to be overly intense. It's about using your eyes to communicate calm, strength, and presence. When she hugs you, she's already in your space, already feeling your energy. The moment you pull back, there's an opening. Those few seconds when your faces are close, when the connection is still alive, this is where most guys disconnect too soon, ruining the chance to deepen the moment. But if you look at her with steady, relaxed eyes, you signal confidence without saying a word. That calm gaze tells her you're not nervous, you're not rushing, and you're completely comfortable in the closeness. That type of control is rare, and women feel it immediately. What makes this so impactful is that eye contact is primal. It bypasses logic and speaks directly to emotion. If you look away too quickly, it communicates uncertainty or even insecurity. But if you hold her gaze for just a little longer, it creates unspoken tension, the kind of tension she won't forget. She'll replay it later, wondering what you were thinking, why it felt different, and why her heart sped up in that split second. That's how you leave a mark without even touching her again. The key here is subtlety. You don't need to stare her down or make it uncomfortable. Too much intensity comes across as forced, even creepy. Instead, think of it as an effortless acknowledgement, as if you're silently saying, I see you, and I'm not afraid to be here in this moment with you. Maybe it's a half smile, maybe it's just a calm stillness in your eyes. Whatever it is, it needs to feel natural, not rehearsed. That balance between strength and ease is exactly what draws her in. Another reason eye contact after a hug is so powerful is because it creates contrast. Most men break the moment instantly, pulling back and turning away as if they can't handle the intimacy. But when you stay with it, when you hold the energy just a second longer, you break the pattern she's used to. And breaking that pattern is what makes her remember you. The hug itself might have been warm, but the look, that's the part that echoes in her mind later when she's alone. It's also worth noting that eye contact communicates far more than words. You don't need to tell her you're confident or that you're different. She feels it through the way you carry yourself. In those few seconds after a hug, when she sees you're calm, composed, and grounded in your presence, she instinctively knows you're not like the rest. That unspoken message is far stronger than anything you could ever say. So the next time you hug her, don't waste that moment. When you pull back, look at her with calm confidence. Let her feel your presence through your eyes, and then transition smoothly. That simple act will leave her thinking about you long after the hug is over. What most men don't realize is that what you do immediately after the hug can make or break the entire impression you leave on her. Too many guys think the hug itself is the peak of connection, but in reality, the seconds that follow are just as important, sometimes even more so. A hug is a moment of closeness, but how you transition afterward communicates whether you're grounded, confident, and capable of leading, or whether you're awkward, needy, and unsure of yourself. Women remember those subtle details, and it's often the transition that sticks with them, not just the hug. Here's where most men go wrong. They hug her, then instantly either step back nervously or overcompensate with too much chatter, too many words, or awkward gestures. That kind of energy breaks the flow and exposes insecurity. But when you know how to carry yourself after the hug, you give her something different. Something most men can't offer: stability and certainty. And stability in those small moments is what draws a woman in and makes her think about you later. The best way to handle the transition after a hug is to stay calm and intentional. Don't rush, don't fidget, move with purpose. If you end the hug and immediately smile with ease, maybe say something light but confident, you're showing her that you're completely comfortable in your own skin. You're not looking to her for validation. You're not clinging to the moment because you're afraid of losing it. You're showing that closeness doesn't throw you off balance. It's just another part of how you naturally interact. One powerful way to solidify the connection is to smoothly lead into whatever comes next, whether that's continuing the conversation, making light physical contact like a tap on the arm, or even just walking together with confidence. The important thing is that you don't act like the hug was this huge event you weren't prepared for. Instead, you integrate it seamlessly, like it was the most natural thing in the world. That's what signals high value, because only a man who's confident and centered can make intimacy feel effortless. Think about the contrast she experiences with most men after a hug. There's tension, awkwardness, or hesitation, but with you it feels smooth, grounded, and intentional. That difference alone makes her pause and wonder why it felt so different, why she felt so much more at ease, and why she suddenly can't stop replaying the interaction. And it's in those small, subtle transitions that you stand out. Not because you're trying too hard, but because you're effortlessly leading the frame. Remember, women are highly sensitive to energy. They pick up on the smallest cues. The tone of your voice, the timing of your movements, the look in your eyes after closeness. When you remain calm and confident after the hug, you're communicating at a subconscious level. I'm not rattled by intimacy. I know who I am, and I'm always in control of myself. That message is powerful because it's so rare for her to encounter. So don't just think about how you hug her. Think about what comes after. Make the transition smooth, grounded, and intentional, and you'll leave her with the lasting impression that you're not just another man, but the man who stood out without even trying.